The Saline Solution presents Naked, the podcast series that pairs it all: real life experiences, how they were dealt with, and the lessons learned. Facing the person in the mirror always makes us check ourselves, accept our past, and guides us to make the decisions that are best for our peace of mind. Are you naked? Here's your host, Saline Griffith. This podcast is for adults 18 years and over.
Hey, welcome to season 4, episode 2. Yeah, we're talking about mentally woke today. When I say mentally woke, of course you know what I mean by that. I'm using the young people word. My children say, Mommy, you can't be using words like that. I say, for why not? But yeah, we're being mentally woke because the world that we live in, changes are happening every day. Some of the things are crazy to me. And I'm like, what is happening now? The things that we place so much emphasis on in our world, or the powers that be that are placing emphasis on, and yet life is happening. A lot of people are losing their minds, like literally. And it's not just this pandemic, it's not a pandemic alone. Life is evolving. I don't know, humanness going into another realm. But we have to make that transition nonetheless because we have to thrive. And so being mentally woke is something we have to be intentional about. So today, I actually have guests today, y'all. I'm not by myself. I have with me today Kassandra Pemberton of Ananda Yoga TT, who's definitely here to share with us her yoga expertise and talking about being a free spirit as well. Kassandra is one of those people who literally lives. And when I say live, it's just like whatever happens, happens. And I love that because at the end of the day, she's thriving and moving with the flow, as they say. So I really like to share this space with persons like that. We also have Genevieve, Pantin, author, trauma therapist as well. And she really shares a lot in her book, A Lioness Heart. And Genevieve is here to share with us some of her expertise in terms of trauma therapy, as well as teaching us how to do a bit of breathing to keep us in the present moment and all of that. And we know yoga is also tied into that. So this is why I have these two wonderful ladies with me here today. So ladies, welcome and thank you for being on the Naked podcast. We get naked today. Cassie here tried to take me to Mount Hololo the other day. I almost died.
She did. We had to roll her back down.
So, Genevieve, thank you so much for joining us, taking the time as well. We have a rainy day today in Trinidad. What's the weather like for you in Spain?
Oh, well, thank you very much for having me, Celine, and lovely to meet you as well, Kassandra. And Alyssa, looking forward to chatting with you also. I think we have temperatures very similar to that of Trinidad right now. It is hot and it is humid. And so we're just trying to keep a little cool here as well, a bit like you guys.
Right. So we're talking about being mentally woke. And Genevieve, you're a therapist. And some of these stories that I've read in your book, A Lioness Heart, where some of these women have come from and the work that you've done with them. And you also shared some of your own experiences with them. And, I always believe in doing that, we are able to, when you share experiences with people, it's not just about administering what you know, but when you get down into it and share, you get them to open up a little more. So what has that been like for you in terms of sharing with your clients on a daily basis? And has that been fulfilling for you as well?
Well, that's an interesting question, Celine. The book was a very vulnerable piece of work. And when I had a very inspirational moment meeting Chopra, curious, find your gift and give it away. And I did a lot of breathing, a lot of soul searching, a lot of yoga poses. Yeah. And I got to what at that moment in time I felt my gift was. And it was being able to share relatable stories of my own or of women I've had in therapy, and thinking that at this very moment in time, that is my gift, is to share the mountains that I and some of these women have climbed in order to inspire others to climb their own, as I had been inspired to climb my own as well. And the book, what it is when I felt that my gift at the moment was to use the mountains that I had climbed and that I'd witnessed of other women and other people, other children as well. The book has got some stories of some very, very amazing children also. And using the mountains that I've climbed or the mountains that they've climbed to inspire others to climb their own mountains.
Yeah.
And I was saying as well, Celine, that you so succinctly put that, we're all looking for our true self. And I think that's the gold star of Pinnacles, correct, our authentic self. When our actions, our words, and our actions, words, and deeds, when they all match up together.
Yes.
And our intentions. And that's where we find ourselves on the journey to being our authentic self. And I know the topic today is being mentally woke. And together with some breathing and some grounding, and spending every moment and living in the present where your words and your actions, your intentions are aligned, we would find that doing that and going there would help us to stay on a path of being mentally woke, of being mentally aware, of being aware of who we are, and aware of what positivity we can bring to ourselves and the world as well.
That is so true. But Cassie, as I said, I always found that you were a free spirit. Cassie does some lives, random lives, no specific time, She will just come on. Any time of the day, she will do a live, her and Auntie. And it's really entertaining, not only the entertaining part, but also very inspiring, where I could see that you are so comfortable in who you are. And I love that, because for that, what brought you to that place? Were you born so?
I might be born that way a little bit.
Yes.
And I think my mother nurtured it.
Okay.
From early on. She gave me a good sense of self. If I had on two different sides of shoes or a shoe and a slipper, are you ready, baby? I was 3 years old. Let's go. She never...
I love that.
Yeah, that's how I was raised.
Do you know that's how parents are now being taught? Or it's now a conversation, leave the children, let them be.
Yeah.
We don't have to be a particular way to be able to express yourselves. We were talking about that just the other day.
Yeah, and even to go back to what we were saying before we came on camera, which people will catch up as we explain it.
Yes.
And you were talking about that narcissistic...
by nature.
By nature. And when I heard that, I think my gasp in a way was, I so can't relate, because I remember my mom telling me, I spoke to you in the womb. So in a way where she would say, you're resting on me, it's uncomfortable, baby, could you shift? So my mother did not have any, we didn't have books. I was born in 1975. Right. I'm about to be 47 years old. There were no books on parenting. It was her intuition. And she would talk to me, like even when I was 5, 6, she was a security guard.
Right.
So she had to leave me alone at 3, at 4 years old to go to do night shifts.
Leave you alone how?
At home.
Alone?
Alone.
She looking for lockup.
No, you could have done that in the 70s.
Yes, I know you
could have done that in the 70s. You could have. So what she would have said to me is, this is the iron. If you touch this, it's warm right now. She put my hand on it. Boom, you're going to get burnt. This is the stove. If you touch this, you're going to get burnt.
Yeah.
My mother's level of communication with me was, what the things books are made of nowadays, but it was intuitive to her. So simple things like going to sleep, she would be like, okay, Kassandra, I want you to go to sleep now. But if you choose to stay up and you can't wake up in the morning, I'm going to leave you. So what do you want to do? You want to play? You want to stay up?
You had that opportunity to make those life decisions from a very young age.
3, 4, 5,
I could relate that to when I was raising my own kids, because I don't believe in the potty training part where you buy a natural potty. To me, that's just prolonging the process. So people will buy a potty. Right. People will buy a potty. And then the child now has to learn how to not be on the potty, but then go to the toilet. But
Yeah.
because I guess it's because it was a twin and I was there, they were with me all the time. The kids will always come whilst I am using the bathroom, and they wanted to do that too.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do what mommy's doing.
Yes.
So that part of it was cut out.
Yeah.
They started to walk pretty early because I didn't force them into a walker. So I think adding these little steps in between, it kind of delays the growth process, but to each his own, right?
And to add to that in terms of parenting, I know that's not the conversation, but it will meld as we go along. My mother always told me too, you were unplanned but never unwanted. You know?
I love it.
so that when she became a parent, it was something she wanted to be. And a lot of trauma, if you want to call it that, comes from parents who don't want to be parents or aren't ready for it. And even though she was young, she was 21, she wanted to be a mother. And she was very clear on that. With whatever resources she had, she was going to be the best possible mother she could have. And I think she did an amazing job. It hasn't been hunky-dory to say.
Yes.
Because
you had your journey.
Life is a teacher.
But Genevieve, what do you think about that in terms of self-awareness from such a young age, and how could parents help their children really get into that awareness of self from such a young age? I mean, I know that the things that we are speaking about today, it's about breathing, it's about doing the yoga as well to help us, but just letting our children be. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually write a lot about this in my book as well. And I actually find it quite a big point in therapy also. When parents accept, we have this in the English language, we have all of this ownership in our words. My child, my son, my daughter. My child. We need to remember that these human beings are not our owners. We're not their owners. They've been entrusted into our care to guide, and hear the word I'm using, their path, not our own path. When parents who may have, and this is not to insult anybody, because we are all guilty of this as parents from time to time, because we always think we know best. And it's that dance of instinct, of tuning into your child. But us parents, if you sometimes want something so much for your child, and your child is then picking up your bag of bricks to carry because of your unfulfilled dreams, wishes, desires, fears, because of your own fears, because of your own concerns, your own worries, And that's why being that parent, so much awareness is needed. So much of the id needs to be stepped out of. So much of the narcissistic concepts of what I think is best, of what I want for her, of what I want her to do, what I want, what I see, what I think, what I can. We need to sit back and think, how am I going to allow this journey and this child to live authentically? And a lot of that is going to be about guiding and instinct. And like I said, so just like Cassie was saying, if you don't mind me calling you Cassie, Cassie was saying, her mum was talking to her from then, and she felt inspired to from a very, very young age, as far as it sounds like you had empathy, because your mum was able to express to you true values of life. Now, that's how I see parenting journey, an authentic one should be, about expressing values that are true to you, true to your family, that you have worked out in your own head. These are important values for my child. And I think if you do that bit and you work how to maintain those values, and there should usually be things like kindness, like love, respect, empathy, everything else that falls into place is a bonus. Everything else that happens, because that child would be walking authentically on their own path.
Yeah, those are the core values that we really should be teaching our children. I mean, not to just give them words to use, obviously, but we have to really
drill down.
Be that for them. Be that. Be those things so that that's the best way that they could possibly learn how to be these things, and it's going to be so automatic for them. To be mentally woke, it's about being aware of yourself. Genevieve spoke about, the core values that we definitely need to learn from our parents and that we need to take with us throughout our lives, because it's important to stay grounded in these values. So come what may, whether you have an adversity you're faced with, whether you have a triumph that you're faced with. Sometimes people forget themselves when they're victorious at something, and they forget themselves. And you might either get cocky or you feel as though you reach,
Yeah.
But we have to, you have to stay humble, because at the end of the day, these values form who you are, what your character is. And you should be able to use that in any situation at all.
Yeah.
Cassie, you spoke about your mom bringing you up in such a way that anything that happened in your life, she supported you. And I'm sure she corrected you as well.
I would say, I could say anything. Yes, she corrected me as well. And it was like a ebb and flow, because she would be hardcore with her corrections. Like, this is just a jokey thing. Like, I remember one time, in Trinidad, when you think you're going to get licks and you run. So I run in the toilet, right?
Uh-huh.
And to avoid this licks. And she locked the toilet door and went down the road.
Oh, see.
Yeah, like went down the road, like out the house.
You know how parents from back in the days would be like, yes.
I was there like, mommy, she came back in the evening.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, be with yourself for a while.
Yeah. You want to run?
You don't want the correction? Sit with yourself for a while.
Mommy did us that already too. Mommy did us that already too. She locked the door. We gone running down the hill from licks. She locked the door. She said, okay, when you're ready to come back and say, but you see, we could have done those things back in the day, because it's like, who was going to pick you up?
Yeah. And to lend to what you're asking me, yes, there was so much of a sense of developing of sense because of who my main parent was. Yeah. But of course, to add to Genevieve's input, because what is the name of your style of therapy? I love that word that you...
So I practice existential therapy. And also I'm a trauma therapist.
Right. So what I like about the word existential, or what it brings to me, is that it welcomes the spirit self. At least that when I hear it, it's that kind of a word that does that to you. And for me, I feel that, again, just kind of honing into mommy. Mommy allowed me to be my existential self. She did. Like, when children, they would be still connected to the spirit realm, and they'd be like, I wasn't here, I didn't used to live here, or whatever kids used to say.
Yeah.
So she'd always be like, so where did you live? She never shut me down.
Right.
She never let me cut off from that part of me that was she was like, so tell me the story. What did you wear? What did you eat? And so this person that you see now, and I'm getting chills as I say it, because of how much she's, and as I said, it hasn't been like if my mother is a perfect mother, or that it's been a perfect mother-daughter thing. But I'm very aware of how much she's given me by raising me that way, like literally existentially.
Do you think that parents, mothers in particular, experience fear in letting their children be who they could possibly, like what your mom did? Because I'm pretty certain it wasn't that she was being careless. She just loved you to the point where, and I'm not saying that any parent who's very closed with their children in terms of watching every step that they do, that they don't love their kids. I mean, they certainly do. But at the end of the day, do you think that sometimes it's the fear? Because, for my own self, I know I don't like to see blood. So I kept my children inside for quite a while to tell them, don't go outside and play, because I don't want you to go and fall down, because I didn't want to see the blood. So that was the fear part that I'm speaking about right now.
The thing that a lot of people don't understand is that your children come to teach you as many lessons as you have to teach them.
I like that.
Right?
Like that, yeah.
And again, I think that what would have happened with my mother is that she allowed herself to be tutored by me. You know, in the sense that
Where she get that from?
I don't know. It's just I just don't.
I mean, it's
I don't
amazing.
know. She was like and mommy was like literally. So I had flat feet with corrective boots, and I was a very sick child, premature. I weighed 2 pounds.
Okay.
I was born at 8 months, and I think mommy's growth was in making me not be weak, get away from that sickness. I was in an incubator for 6 months. So I think she went into warrior mode, what you want to visit later. I think she went into warrior mode with me. Like, this child will not be weak. This child will, you know what I mean? Like, she was speaking life into me. I think that was, I think my weakness was her strength.
That is a really good point.
Yeah, my weakness was her strength. So because I was such a because I would love for her to come back in.
Yes.
I wonder if she's still here.
Right.
All right, good. Yeah, because I was such a sickly child, that was her both spiritual and emotional growth.
Yes.
To ground me. She was like, oh, no, you're going to walk. So I would fall every morning with my corrective boots.
Right.
And the neighbors would be like, pick her up. And she'd be like, no, let her walk. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. So... yeah, my growth was her growth as well. The way she needed me to be strong when she had to leave me was her growth as well, to let go of the fear. If she falls, she'll get up, you know?
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That is profound, sister. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So we were each other's teacher that way.
Yeah.
She had to go to her deeper self to raise a sickly child, yeah?
But you see, in that, the mental state that your mom was in, as you said, the warrior part of her came out because it's like, no, she's not going to be a sickly child.
Yeah.
And in so doing, you don't have any kind of fear.
I do not, yeah.
Do you know what? As much as it takes a warrior spirit to fight, it also takes a serious warrior spirit to let go.
Yeah.
And I think that is really the key element of us mothers.
Yeah, that is a nail on the head comment, Genevieve.
That right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Because I was asking my girlfriends the other day, my kids are 16, and I'm saying, just now they're going to be driving. Just now they're going out. How do I let go these reins of my children going out? How do I let go letting them drive and all of this? And I was like, the fear that is building up in me, I'm like, but at this age, my parents let me do certain things as well. You know, and I feel as though I need to be coached in terms of letting go. So that point that you made, Genevieve, we kind of missed it in the thing, but please reiterate about the warrior spirit, that being a warrior, letting you be able to let go as well.
Yeah, and that to me takes more strength sometimes than to fight. Because, especially as Trinidad women, we are born with warrior blood. We paint ourselves 2 days of the year and we prance on the street. We have that warrior spirit in us. But it's actually defining the warrior that our child needs as well. And actually not letting them be completely marred or affected by our own fears, our own negative experiences, enough to be able to be free.
Make sure that we know we are equipped with the certain steps that we could take to ensure that we know what it is to be mentally stable, to navigate the times that we're in. We want to always be in control of us. We can't possibly be in control of anybody else. And that's something that as parents, as human beings, we need to learn to understand. And I know, Genevieve, your work in terms of being a trauma therapist and all of this, you really have a wealth of experience in that regard, and even for your own self in terms of the way you parent, the way you run your businesses and stuff like that. So share with us some of the stuff that we could probably share with our audience.
Well, I always think it's really important to have your little toolbox that will keep you grounded, that helps you through difficult times. We have words that are quite common at the moment that we hear a lot of: anxiety and depression. We think anxiety is when we are often living constantly in the future. Depression could come from us living very, very deeply in the past. So there's one solution in response to the start of anxiety and depression: live in the moment. And if we have a little toolbox of tricks that can physically take us back to the moment, this will serve us a lot in those difficult times when we're catapulting ourselves forward or we're drowning ourselves backwards. And I'll share with you one little tip, and it's probably when I delve into start the process of trauma therapy with any one of my clients, we start building the tools in this toolbox. We start putting this toolbox together. And one of them that's really important, and I know Kassandra is going to know about this, and it's about your breath. And the one thing that takes you back to the moment is your breath. So if we think about how important it is that, like, even if you think of how, we don't really always, humanity in the last couple of 100 years has really neglected it. But if you think how important food is to us, how important drink is to us, you can live for 21 days without eating. You can live, I think, 7 days without drinking, but you cannot live more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes without your breath.
Breathing, right.
So that perhaps should put it in the order of our priority.
Right.
Going back to the breath is really what takes us back to the moment. So I have one little tip that I always use with my clients when the moment is slipping away. That is, and we can try it all together now. If you take a deep breath in for 4, hold your breath for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you breathe out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we do that and we feel the moment is too strong for us, that we're being pushed forward or we're being pulled back, go back to the breath. 4, 7, 8. It's very simple. It brings us back to the moment. And I'll show you another little tip, because we all figure out as well the different things that ground us. So another one, so using our breath like that, 4, 7, 8, just helps us to rebalance our body on the inside. It gets our cells refreshed when the exhalation is longer than the inhalation. And it just gets us back to the moment. Another little tip I have is this one. You grab your water.
What are we doing with it? Swishing it around in the mouth?
And swish it around your mouth. Swish it around the cheeks, under the tongue, on the roof of the mouth. Swish it all around and just feel it. And that, again, and go do that, swish it around just for a good couple of minutes, even if a whole minute or 2 if you can. And that brings you back to the moment. So when you're finding yourself being taken out of the moment, get yourself some water, hydrate yourself, move it around. I think, and I'm not saying it was there or not, but since COVID, we seem to be talking a lot more about panic attacks, about anxiety, about, things becoming too much for us. Mm-hmm. And when we take things back to basic, back to the moment sometimes, is what we need to just get our head right. And you are using a lot of the right words as well, Celine, as awareness. Awareness is the most important word there is for mental health and well-being.
Yes.
When you're aware and you're conscious in the moment. And that's the best advice I can give. And then we can do a little bit of grounding therapy. So these a grounding therapy is a little bit more in grounding therapy. Is if you stand up and you picture yourself like a tree and just imagine yourself growing roots and growing roots and growing roots and spreading out and spreading out and growing roots. And imagine yourself in the wind, but you're stable and you're strong. So this is where we can use the bits of our imagination as well to ground ourselves in the moment.
Yeah.
And, and our mental health, the greatest gift we could also give ourselves when we're struggling with all these other symptoms of anxiety, depression, panic, fear. Find purpose. If you are living with purpose and you're living authentically where your words and your actions are aligned, mental health will be strong. It's like a muscle. It's like a muscle that you need to work on it for it to develop.
Yes.
And it means being aware, staying in the moment, finding purpose, living what you speak, living what you preach, living your intentions, living authentically.
So what about if it is that the people around you, not just family, but the people who you tend to have in your space, if they are not that way minded, how do you remove yourself from the environment? Because I don't want to be in a position, I'm trying to ground myself, as you just put it, Genevieve. So I don't want to have to be coaching people along. I want to help people, right? I really do. But for me, help is by my example, the way I live my life as well. And if I think that there are people around me who are not that way minded or would make me feel as though I am in La La Land because I choose to live in the moment. They say to me sometimes, why are you always so happy? Look at how much shit going on around you. Why are you always so happy? I said, because I am here. I am alive. I am breathing right now. And so I find myself sometimes feeling as though I don't want these people around me anymore because you make me feel as though I am wasting my time and you take me away from my present moment to get me into a space of worry now. It's like, should I be doing this instead? And I spent quite a few years, decades of my life, decades, like if it's only 4 decades I'm here for, feeling as though I was doing something wrong by still being happy. And I said, but why aren't there many people living like that? Why are you worrying? Sometimes the amount of shit that I have going on right now, I said, if I gave into those thoughts, if I gave into the emotions for those things, I would feel as though my life should
I have an answer for you on that, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday I did a live, which you probably haven't seen yet. But I was saying the problem is the teacher.
Right.
The problem is the teacher. Oftentimes we think the problem is the problem.
Right.
The problem is the teacher. So your friend, and your friend and you fall out. That is a teachable moment. What can I learn here? How can I grow here? Be present with your friend. You don't.
Yes.
Pardon?
How does it serve?
Yes.
Serve me.
And also, I would have to keep going back to your existential. For me, what I do now is I thank the problem. I thank the challenge. I thank what it has to bring for me. Because I am like, this is what we feel that what we came here to experience is to do the big grandiose thing.
Right.
We don't realize that argument with a friend is as much as putting out the new fashion line and as much as putting out the new makeup line and as much as launching the book, we don't think that the argument with the friend is as accomplishing as that.
Oh my God.
I also think as well, Celine, that, and I write about it a lot as well, you need to find your tribe.
Yeah.
And your tribe no longer means that they have to be blood. Because sometimes the people who are related to us cause us the most problems.
Right.
You need to find your tribe and also remember, you may not have a choice about everything, but you always have a choice about something. And the something is where you find your power.
Yeah.
Because somewhere along there, that falling out, as Cassie said so rightfully, so right, that's a teaching moment for you. There's something in that experience that's going to show you, and the way you take that experience is testimony to you. Every experience can serve you in a way that you need to be served, can serve you positively, because you learn something from that experience about the other and often about yourself.
Yes.
But if you choose that you have people, and I know we don't always directly choose everybody in our lives because, some of us, we married, we have in-laws, we have cousins, the cousins have husbands, we have friends, the friends have sisters. So sometimes people are indirectly related to us and may on occasion impinge upon our lives or find space in our lives that we don't feel as if we've invited them. And I think if you're a woman that's true to yourself and you live authentically, these people who you don't have matched values with, it hurts you even more. Because you think, why am I in your life? Why am I in your space? Why are you in my space? But always remember, you've got a choice about something. And it may not be immediately to exit them from your space, but what you may have a choice about is how much they affect you.
Yeah.
So you may be able to choose with some work on yourself. You know what? If you have empathy for that person, you think, I feel for that person. Their journey has been this. That may be why they choose to be negative around me. That may be why they find it difficult to be in my space. That may be why they're lashing out. That may be why they say things that are so harmful. They may not have had as rich or fulfilling a journey as I've had. Therefore, the things that they say or the actions and the things that they do may not be in line with my spirit. And I can feel empathy for them and their journey. And therefore, that empathy allows me to move beyond how they affect me, to choose how they affect me.
And that thing that you've been saying about your truth and your present, to add to what you're saying, Genevieve, I also feel like that being in the moment, I feel to cry, I feel to cuss about this, to give myself permission to feel the hurt I'm feeling and be like, I am hurt right now, I am going to cry. And you're not going to steal my cry the same way you're going to steal my joy.
Joy, correct.
Right? I go and cry now. Right? So,
that was me yesterday, to be honest with you. I was like, I thought I was over this shitty relationship.
Right. But
then I was like, I saw something. Oh, he stopped for me to cross the road. And I'm like, why the fuck I didn't see this man by?
Right.
And I'm like, shit. But I thought it didn't bother me until later on in the night when I was with my quiet thoughts. It just came right back in and I was like, I'm not dealing with this today.
But he stopped for you to cross though.
He didn't bounce me down. But people saying it like that. I don't think he'll ever bounce me down. But I was like, how to I just don't want to have to deal with this right now, those emotions and stuff. But I said, but they are here, they're real. So as they come up, deal with it and keep it moving.
You see that breath?
Yeah.
First of all, that breath was beautiful.
But that's something
Genevieve.
I definitely am taking away from this conversation. Definitely, because I want to make sure that every time something comes up, I want to make sure that I'm able to take that breath. And 4, 7, 8.
Yeah, 4, 7.
4, 7, 8.
And adding to the breath, I would add surrender to the breath.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the things I cannot change.
Yeah.
So you're doing the 4, 7, 8 and you're really releasing it.
Yeah.
It's not just an action.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So you both do yoga, because we're getting ready to wrap up the conversation. So you both do yoga. And as I was saying to Cassie earlier, this is something that is becoming almost like a fad, but a very necessary one, because a lot of people realize the benefits of doing yoga. You're much calmer in your life. You are a little more focused as well.
Yeah.
So how do we encourage people to integrate yoga into their lives?
You can't. All you have to do is just keep talking, and when they're ready, they will come.
Yeah, like anything else.
I would like to say, well, how we could have put it out there.
Yeah.
But you see how God have jokes? God made it trendy. But so God have jokes, because it's like, I'll make this trending, but you ain't know you're dealing with your spiritual self. You ain't know you're dealing with your mental issues. So you think you're being all trendy and you think
Yes,
you're doing the
and then you
in thing,
realize you're in a whole
but
different
you're
space
dealing with
operating.
yourself holistically and you
Yes.
didn't even know.
Yes, I like that.
That's how God have jokes, right? So
But was that a helicopter?
it sounds like it.
Life in the tropics, I tell you.
I think you practice twice a week, you change your body. You practice 4 times a week, you change your mind. You practice every day, you change your life.
Wow.
And, and I don't practice every day, but the days I don't practice, I know I'm not practicing.
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
So I'm always aiming for that ultimate where I am practicing every day.
Right.
You know, people talk a lot about self-love, but are they really showing up for themselves? Are they really putting themselves first? I think for me, it has come to this is of the utmost, not even this. I am of the utmost primary importance to me. This is what I'm going to do at least some part of the day, even for 15 minutes, as you would have said earlier, Genevieve, when I don't have the whole hour, 2 hours, or 90 minutes to give to a practice, I could give, there must be 15 minutes in a day I could give to myself. I had to be important enough that I could give me 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to be important enough. And if you're not there, you're not going to be there until you're there.
Yeah.
Nothing I say or do could make you.
That's true. It's a state of readiness.
Yeah.
It's a state of readiness.
Or trauma causes you to become ready.
And trauma is part of our fabric. It informs our choices.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we've had a lot of trauma, it stops us from actually being able to be there for ourselves and to make the choices that put us first, that put our well-being and our health first. So yes, very rightly said, Cassie, I agree with you that, trauma also can stop us from showing up for ourselves.
This has been an incredible sharing. Thank you very much, Genevieve. I truly appreciate you sharing your expertise and thoughts with us.
Are you going to invite me again?
Of course. Of course. I would love that. I would definitely love that. So we will.
Cassie, I would love to take you up on some online yoga.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be awesome.
I'm going to get your details and check it out.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. So thank you, Genevieve. And
Thank you, ladies, so much. It's been a huge pleasure.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Be well.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
And thank you to Cassie of Ananda Yoga TT for sharing her expertise with us as well, because I know that you live yoga.
I
Not
do.
just yoga, but yoga lives you? Should I
Well,
put
you
it
know
like
what's
that?
interesting? The word yoga means union with God. That's what yoga means.
Yeah.
Union with self. And like Genevieve was saying a lot about being present. Just constantly being present with what you're feeling, whether be it your angst, your anxiety, your hurt, your distress, being present with what you're feeling, owning it. You see, we all feel we had to not feel this, or we had to reconstruct that, or we want to show up as how, and we want to renegotiate and
How
be
do we
politically
make that
correct.
shift from what we have been taught for years since we know ourselves? Well, how do we make that shift from doing things by the book, doing things in a certain way? Because if you go against the grain, all you'll be called is mad.
Which
Many times see people say, "Oh, she has mad." And you know what? It's all good. It is all good. Because the couple of times that we spent together, one day I just randomly end up by Cassie because I wanted her to reconstruct a dress for me. And that was so nice because it wasn't planned. I end up there, we sit down, we talk a whole set of thing. And this is how, I said, these are the kinds of spirits I like to connect with. My sisters always say that I am random, Becky, because I do the most random things. Like the other day, I'm going to pay bills. How I end up down Gasparillo, I don't know. But
the bill place was in Gasparillo?
No. My girlfriend said, I have to go and pick up my mom in Gasparillo. I want to she didn't finish the sentence. I said, come on.
Yeah.
Bills will be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money there, so it will be paid.
Right.
But I wanted to go Gasparillo that day, and I loved it. That sunset was absolutely amazing.
Do it.
And I'm realizing now that as my days go by, that is how I am becoming. Just going with the flow.
Break a little beach.
Watch
You
me.
have to break
I
a
love
little
it,
beach.
I absolutely love it. And
You
I
have to
think
break beach.
that is how you end up becoming mentally woke.
Yeah.
Because when you see you do random things like that, you tend to really get in tune with yourself because you're doing it for you.
Yeah. And again, conversations like this, and you know, people who seeing this, you are important to you. Like just hearing it might do a little trigger thing. I'm saying that you can't, on the one hand, I'm saying that you can't really tell them, but us having the conversation and being in a public forum, somebody will say, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't even work early today. I didn't even work early today. You know what? I just want at least that. At least even the day they see the podcast, it might be like, I going home and do something for me. You know?
You gotta do it. You gotta do it. And I think that's one of the most important things. So breathing. If you can't get involved, if you're ready enough to do yoga, because yoga really does help. With.
Let me say, you were asking me, and then we got cut off on the internet in terms of what yoga does for you.
Right.
Let me give a little synopsis of what that does. I would say it undoes a day. So say you were having a really stressed out, it prepares you for the day and it undoes the day.
I like that.
At the same time.
Yeah.
So let's say you do it early in the morning, you're prepared for whatever comes for you, your body ready, your mind in tune. You become one, because sometimes yoga is so hard, it's very hard at times, but because it's so hard, you have to be present, as Genevieve would have said. You have to be present with some of the postures and whatnot. So now I got myself in that space, and then when you get there, you're like, I feel great. Nothing can bother me actually. So you kind of...
And you could do it in your own time as well. Yeah.
So doing it, having like say early morning practice, gives you that buffer, that readiness for the day. You know, you have your force field around you, are ready for whatever the day have to bring. And then if there has been any distress, trauma, angst, anxiety, whatever comes up during the day, you come back onto the mat and you release it. So you're renewed every day. You're not carrying one day into the next, into the next, into the next. Not to mention the health benefits in terms of my back not hurting me, my hip not hurting me, I'm aging backwards, I'm now comfortable in my body in a way I wasn't before.
I love the fact that yoga has the culmination of mind, body, and spirit. And for that purpose, I really find that it's something that I think is more suitable for my personality, my being, if you want to call it that, because gym is not for me. Jim and I have never been friendly, as you can tell. But we've never been friendly because I can't handle waiting for a machine. And I mean, to each his own, as I always would say, because everything is not for everyone. But the few interactions that I've had with yoga, I like that it is a combination of all three. So I get to touch on everything. So it's definitely something that I would really, really want to get more involved in. And guys, it's important to be in touch with who you are. So as Cassie was saying earlier, if you feel like cussing today, something caused you to want to cuss. If you feel like crying, if that's the emotion that you're experiencing right now. So give yourself, allow yourself to just be. And you would see how you would start to break down the walls of whatever society tells you to do. Break down the walls of, I have to do this now, I have to achieve this by this age, and all of that kind of thing. You break down those walls because at the end of the day, you are being. And that's all that we're here for, to be. Spirits are connecting, people's energies are connecting, and it's so important to do that. And as Genevieve was saying earlier in her sharing, this is how you find your tribe. Your tribe doesn't always have to be blood, but you can find people, and it's not even people that you see every day, but it's who you connect with on that level where you feel completely you feel completely comfortable.
And the more comfortable you sit with yourself, the easier it becomes to find your tribe. You know what I mean? Because you're not resisting as much, and you're not trying to make somebody be what they aren't, or you know, you're not trying to contort somebody into something else to suit you. You're like, okay, Sarah, I don't work for you, I go on who I work for, you know? It's fine. I'm not fighting up to make you to make you be my tribe, you know?
So thank you guys for touching base with us again. I hope this was beneficial to you in terms of being mentally woke.
And thank you for having me as well.
Thank you so much. Too bad we didn't have our wine, but there's a reason for that too, because you know me. But Cassie don't drink, does it? I say you
I actually do from time to time, but very what you call socially. Very socially.
So a little wine would have been good. But I really want to thank my guest today, Genevieve Pantin. Of course, she shared so much gems with us today, and we continue to really live our authentic selves. Find your purpose, find your warrior, because each of us, we have a warrior within us. Thank you to Cassie again from Ananda Yoga, because this crazy person. I say crazy in air quotes because a lot of people would say that, but I don't think she's crazy. She's just being, and I love it. Absolutely love it. And I also want to thank Villa de Amaya for lending us this beautiful spot, aka the house in the bush. Thank you so much for lending us your space. It's such a cozy space to be in. And of course to Xtocracy for our camera work. Thank you so much to Kevin and the crew. And of course to Jesse and 5-6 Music Productions for our editing. Thank you so much. And for my kit today, thank you to Lance Fashions for, of course, outfitting me for today. Thank you very, very much for that. Guys, you all have no idea how grateful I am. You all make naked possible. And of course, last but not least, my listeners, you all are the best. So remember always, be a good human. Bye-bye.